Alright, back to another album review. Today's review is on Injustice for All by Metallica. This is the fourth studio album by Metallica and is their first album to have Jason Newstead on bass. The album was recorded between January 28th and May 1st of '88 at 1-on-1 in Los Angeles. The album was self-produced with help from our good friend Flemming Rasmussen, who engineered the album with help from Toby Wright. On a side note, this is the last Metallica album that Flemming ever worked on. As for Toby, he would go on to work with other artists including Alice in Chains, Ozzy, Korn, Slayer, Soulfly, Fear Factory, Jerry Cantrell, Primus, and Oysterhead, among others. Anyways, this album was mixed by Steve Thompson and Michael Barbero at Bearsville Studios in New York, and George Cowan helped him out. The album was released on September 7th, '88 on Elektra Records. The album was mastered by Bob Ludwig. It has been reissued multiple times. The first reissue was in '95, and this version was remastered by George Marino. The most recent reissue was in 2018 on Blackened Recordings, and that version was remastered by Ruben Cohen. My copy is the '95 version. What I should mention is that the title comes from the last four words of the American Pledge of Allegiance. Of course, any American watching this video will have already known that. This album is still rooted in Metallica's signature thrash metal and speed metal sounds, but they decided to branch out and incorporate elements of progressive metal this time around. Later bands would also venture into progressive metal, including Tool, Alter Bridge, Avenged Sevenfold, Duran Gray, System Up and Down, and others. It makes sense why Metallica would touch upon progressive metal with this album, because the lyrics of some of the songs talk about politics and the environment. Of course, anyone who has at least seen the cover would have already guessed that this album would have political themes. Now let's talk about the songs. The intro to this album is Blackened. The lyrics about the song, the lyrics are related to the environment. Interestingly enough, Metallica named their record label Blackened Recordings after this song. The next song is Injustice for All, which was released as a promo single on the same day as the album. The song ventures into the progressive metal genre, and it's noted for its complexity. The lyrics also deal with corruption in the American judicial system, and there's a lot of corruption even today. This reminds me that System Up and Down once made a song called Fuck the System, which I talked about when I reviewed Steal This album a while back. We followed up with Eye of the Beholder, which was released as a single on October 30th, '88. The lyrics of the song are related to freedom of speech and civil liberties, and I can honestly say that this song still holds up since conservative fucktards are still trying to fuck with freedom of speech even today. On a side note, the single has a B-side, which has a cover of the song Bread Fan by Budgie. That B-side will later be featured on the compilation album Garage Inc. More on that in a future video. That's followed up by One, which was released as a single on January 10th, '89. This is an anti-war song about a soldier who is critically injured by a landmine in World War I. So much so that he loses his limbs and lower jaw, and he can't speak, see, or hear. And his only method of communication is through Morse code. A music video was made for the song, and I'm including a link in the description. It was the very first music video that Metallica ever made. The video was even featured on Beavis and Butthead. The video features scenes from the movie Johnny Got His Gun from '71. Admittedly, I've only seen the movie once because it is on YouTube. Now, granted, Metallica had to pay royalty fees to keep showing the video. It came to the point where they simply bought the rights to the movie so they could stop paying those fees. Not only is this my favorite song from the album, it's my overall favorite Metallica song in general. Up next is The Shortest Straw. It's another political song, given the fact that the lyrics are about blacklisting and discrimination. And for that I say, fuck discrimination. And next up is Harvester of Sorrow, which was released as a single on August 28th, '88. The song is about a man who loses his fucking mind and ends up murdering his family. To say the song is dark would be an understatement. Now, the single includes 2 B-sides, which happen to be covers. And one of them is Bread Fan by Budgie, and the other is The Prince by Diamond Head, both of which would appear on Garage Inc. After that is The Frayed Ends of Sanity. The song heads towards the direction of thrash metal. What comes next is To Live Is to Die. One thing I need to mention is that Cliff Burton was credited as a writer on this song, since a bass line of his was recorded prior to his untimely death. The original recording was not featured, it is instead played by Jason Newstead. The finale to this album is Dyer's Eve. James Hetfield said the song was written as a rant towards his own parents. I should mention that the Japanese version includes a cover of the song The Prince by Diamond Head, and as you can see, my copy does not have that bonus track. It's not all bad, because the song is on, that song did appear on Garage Inc. When researching this album, I read that it peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200. It was later certified 8 times platinum by the RIAA by selling over 8 million copies. To say that this album was a commercial success would be an understatement. As for the critics, they absolutely enjoyed this album. Hell, it has a 93 on Metacritic. Metal Forces is the only publication that gave this album a perfect score. The Village Voice gave the album a C+. Clearly they don't know what they're talking about, because the album is way better than that. Now for my thoughts. Personally, I think this album is even better than Metallica's previous work. The fact they decided to touch upon progressive metal in some songs helps them to branch out rather than make something that sounds exactly like they did before. I can honestly say this album defines everything that's awesome about 80s music. I highly recommend this album, and I will include it in a future video on the best albums of the 80s. Now is the part where I question you. Have you listened to Injustice for All? If so, what do you think about it? What's your favorite song from it? Was it the right decision to incorporate elements of progressive metal into this album? Do you think it was necessary to include political and environmental themes in some of the songs? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to press the notification bell to notify future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another review.